What is going on, guys? Welcome to Beyond Politics, episode 17. This, of course, is an in-depth conversation where we bring our perspective to a relevant political topic of the day. I'm your host, Jared, and with me, as always, is Seth. And today we're going to be talking about some of the events that have been unfolding in Virginia over the weekend, in Charlottesville more specifically. Kind of the whole white nationalist, white supremacist movement that was going on there.
Mm-hmm. And most importantly, the freaking guy that drove through
a couple
exactly. protesters.
It's insane.
Really messed up.
But just kind of give you a little bit of a backstory of what's happening. There are a ton of articles out about this.
Yeah, I mean, the chances of you seeing this is pretty much 100%. I don't know if
anyone under a rock.
Yeah, I even had my fiance's parents text me about it up in Canada, and I was like, yep.
What's going on? Yeah, you would know about it. Yeah. But basically, we're just going to kind of run through some of the facts, break it down for you, kind of summarize what led up to the event that you just kind of talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, there was a scheduled protest in Charlottesville, Virginia, and it was because of, I guess Charlottesville announced that they were going to remove a statue of General Robert E. Lee. So there was a organized protest that was going to be there on Saturday. It was called Unite the Right, of course.
Okay.
Great. But it was organized...
align themselves with the right.
Yeah, exactly. But organized by Jason Kessler, I believe. He's kind of a prominent voice, along with David Duke and...
Spencer.
Yeah.
Richard Spencer.
And Richard Spencer, yeah. And he was supposed to come up and speak there, too. So before the actual event on Saturday, about 100 people, white supremacists, came to the University of Virginia with tiki torches. We're kind of marching around, of course, representing the KKK and all this just total garbage. A lot of them were holding up like neo-Nazi kind of symbols.
Yeah, they were straight up Nazi flags,
Yeah.
quotes from Hitler on the back of shirts of people there. I mean, they should have had those shirts from our last episode, man.
Yeah, the piece. Yeah, they could have.
There's a reason you can't bring the swastika back.
Exactly.
It's still being used for the horrible things today that it was back then.
Yeah, so basically, they show up there in Virginia, kind of fights break out, so they're already expecting there to kind of be mayhem on Saturday.
Well, because there were anti-protesters, people there protesting the protest, obviously.
Yeah, what I've kind of heard is that there were reports of some Antifa people, then just some regular people coming in and protesting it. Obviously, it makes sense to protest these people because they're total garbage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I know that there were some Antifa people there because what happened Saturday morning is on both sides were kind of met in, it was a park.
Emancipation
Park, yeah. They kind of met there where the protest was scheduled. On both sides, there were police reports of them spraying each other with pepper spray, throwing tear gas canisters.
Where do you get that?
I know you can make a lot of it.
Oh, you can?
Tear gas stuff, like kind of homemade. It's obviously not quite as effective for that, thankfully. But yeah, the police quickly called it. They said that they were illegally there. Obviously, they were using illegal weapons and stuff like that on people. The state of Virginia declared a state of emergency officially, kind of shut down the whole thing. And then as protesters on both sides, mainly the white supremacist side, kind of started walking off, in the chaos of everything unfolding, a car came plowing through a group of anti-protesters.
The non-white nationalists. Yeah,
the non-white nationalist protesters. And this is kind of a video of it. Warning, it is pretty graphic, so just here it is.
Our streets! Our streets!
That's messed up, dude.
That's really
like
messed up.
The thought process that you should drive your car through a group of people. Luckily, I mean, I hate saying luckily, but thankfully, like there was only one fatality. I mean, I feel like it could have been a lot worse.
Because you watch that
you saw
video,
the one person go flying.
It looks awful.
Dude,
and that's what happens when, cars are weapons. Obviously it can be used as transportation, but this thing is dangerous going fast. And you can just see the video of it going through, it looks like, 50, 60 people.
Yeah.
And yeah, like you said, one fatality that's awful is a 32-year-old woman, 19 more injured.
Yep.
I don't know all of their conditions right now. It's still kind of early at the time.
Yeah, I haven't heard of any of them having life-threatening.
So that's good news. Hopefully they'll recover with any kind of life-changing injuries.
And this is what's weird also with, I think, the social media age we live in is that you're not spared anything. Because people were posting this all over.
Video.
There were so many angles. You basically had like every angle you could possibly want because people had their phones out, videoing the protesters or whatever. And it's just like absolutely insane that this guy, was James Alex Fields.
Yep.
That drove his car. He's been apprehended.
20 years old.
should be put to death. Maybe.
I totally agree, man. If you're going to be doing, there's no place for a person like that in civilized society.
No.
I 100% wholeheartedly believe in the death penalty. I would much rather do that than have him go to jail for life.
Yeah, I don't.
And honestly, he probably won't even go to jail for life.
Well, what's he doing? Like
he's getting
murder
charged
or
with
manslaughter?
I think second-degree murder.
Jeez. How is it not first?
So not
degree?
even first-degree murder. Yeah, from the reports that I read, we might have to double check it. But the first reports that I read were second-degree murder.
Right, and so that's when this kind of. I think this became escalated. That's when I started
Absolutely,
caring about
Well,
it. Like,
once
it blew
there's a
up
death.
on like Reddit. It was just like car drove through, and I was like, "Holy crap!"
Yeah, absolutely,
dude.
Absolutely, because the footage is truly horrendous, and once there's a death, I mean, it escalates the entire thing. So obviously, the president came out. He made a statement that he's been getting a lot of heat on.
Don't understand.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that after. But here's a clip of what he had to say.
But we're closely following the terrible events unfolding in Charlottesville, Virginia. We condemn in the strongest possible terms this egregious display of hatred, bigotry, and violence on many sides. On many sides. It's been going on for a long time in our country. Not Donald Trump, not Barack Obama. It's been going on for a long, long time. It has no place in America. What is vital now is a swift restoration of law and order and the protection of innocent lives. No citizen should ever fear for their safety and security in our society, and no child should ever be afraid to go outside and play.
Right, so I think it sounded good. Like, I don't know, people were obviously having issues with that he didn't name white nationalists or white supremacists.
He didn't use those words.
Which I guess kind of makes sense. I don't know why you wouldn't name them. But at the same time, it's like, after all that's happened, like, you want to get outraged at what the president's saying when he is condemning what happened. Like, he's never said it was good that what happened. These people are trying to say that, oh, he's glad it happened. Like, no. I mean, whatever, if you want to believe what he says or whatever. I mean, every president needs to make a speech like this when there is some kind of tragedy like this. But people being mad about, well, you didn't label that, like, okay, I guess. I mean,
well, and they're saying, like, there's only one side, and in this instance...
No, it's freaking two sides.
Yeah, I mean, in this instance, obviously, the guy driving the car, he's a total piece of trash. But like we said, there was Antifa there. There's tons of other places Antifa has gone and rioted and stuff like that. So what he's been saying, it's been going along for a long time. There's bigotry and intolerance on both sides happening. Right. That is absolutely 100% true.
Correct. You had a guy go out and, go after Republican senators. Yeah, to kill them on a baseball field.
On a baseball field, yeah.
And on purpose. Like, no, that's the thing. There's tons of riots that we've seen. People getting injured in that. You saw the riots when Trump got elected. Yeah. It is a 100% on both sides.
Exactly. And to pretend that it's not is just to be...
No, it's wrong. It's to slant the media, and it's really freaking annoying. And then all the people are also trying to say that it's Trump's fault that this happened. Mm-hmm. And it's like, it's so frustrating because it's like, what happened with the guy that shot Scalia? Or no, Scalia?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He was a Bernie. He helped out on Bernie Sanders' campaign. Yeah. But I didn't see a lot of people blaming Bernie.
No,
and he even came out, and they shouldn't. Yeah. But like, I felt
so
like
you should blame Trump too, kind of thing.
Yeah, like we didn't blame Bernie because it's not Bernie's fault. You can't control what your supporters do.
No, there's insane people.
Like, I feel like it's like, why can't they just look back and be like, all right, they didn't blame Bernie. It's not right for us to blame Trump. Instead, everyone just jumps on the bandwagon. This is Trump's fault. It's like, no,
it's not.
These are people that are crazy.
Yeah, like, I totally.
They
agree.
have no place in society. These straight up Nazis, a lot of them, but basically they were walking around with freaking Nazi flags.
And there's going to be insane people on both sides when you have something as heated and controversial as politics today in America. Yeah. There's going to be ridiculous outliers, but of course that's not going to stop people, like you said, for blaming Trump. This was the mayor of Charlottesville, Virginia, right here. This is what he had to say.
You said you place blame for these terrifying events, quote, right at the doorstep of the White House and the people around the president, unquote. That's a very strong charge to level. Why do you think the president himself bears responsibility?
Well, look at the campaign he ran. I mean, look at the intentional courting, both on the one hand of all these white supremacist, white nationalist group like that, anti-Semitic groups, and then look on the other hand, the repeated failure to step up, condemn, denounce, silence, put to bed all those different efforts, just like we saw yesterday. I mean, this is not hard. There's two words that need to be said over and over again: domestic terrorism and white supremacy. That is exactly what we saw on display this weekend, and we just aren't seeing leadership from the White House. we certainly are going to see leadership from cities like Charlottesville, from mayors, from leaders all around the country, left and right, Republicans and Democrats, if there's an issue that can unite this country, that this can be a turning point for this democracy. I think it just happened right now this weekend in Charlottesville. You know, to be honest, it doesn't matter much to me whether he's already on the sidelines, I think, of so many issues, but the country is going to move ahead. This will be a turning point for the country to overcome this stuff, just like we've overcome these challenges in our past. And I think it's happening right now as we speak.
So I really don't understand this at all. I mean, the presidential candidate that held up an LGBT flag during the RNC, like, Trump was not, say what you will about Trump, but he's not playing towards the anti-Semitic alt-right. Now, I agree that he definitely should have condemned it. I think two things can be true at once, right? There can be hatred and bigotry on both sides, but he should also be condemning. And I think that he should call it by name just for the sake of consistency, right? He has no problem with going out there and labeling things radical Islamic terrorism.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is good. You should do the exact same thing when there's domestic terrorism, which this was.
Yes, 100%.
And calling that white nationalists and white supremacists.
That's true, yeah. I guess that's a good point, yeah, because I was frustrated when Obama would refuse to do that. And it's like, well, you need to label it.
You need to label it. You need to label evil. I still don't understand all the ridiculous outrage. Like I said, I was scrolling through my Facebook and I subscribe to all of the Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, CNN. There was like 50 stories by each of them, all outlining it, talking about how Trump is not denying this and how Trump is promoting them and growing this movement.
This reality that they live in, just like
I know, and I completely disagree with that.
But I mean, the Virginia governor, I think, actually said something really good, which, I mean, you can see that here.
And I have a message to all the white supremacists and the Nazis who came into Charlottesville today. Our message is plain and simple. Go home. You are not wanted in this great Commonwealth. Shame on you. You pretend that you're patriots, but you are anything but a patriot. You want to talk about patriots, talk about Thomas Jefferson and George Washington, who brought our country together. You think about the patriots today, the young men and women who are wearing the cloth of our country. Somewhere around the globe, they are putting their life in danger. They're patriots. You are not. You came here today to hurt people. And you did hurt people. But my message is clear. We are stronger than you.
Now, it is important to remember that we take whatever this guy says with a grain of salt, because he is also the guy that famously said this.
There are too many guns on the street. We lose 93 million Americans a day to gun violence. I mean, I've long talked about this.
So 93 million gun deaths a day.
The U.S. has about 4 more days to live until everyone is dead.
Yeah, so, I mean, take what he's not exactly the brightest person.
But he did say something.
But he did, I
what he
like what he said.
So we'll give him credit for that,
I will give him credit for for what he said after this. And it should be condemned. Anybody that thinks this was okay, no, you need to take a good look at yourself and if you think this is an okay field for politics to be in. It shouldn't come to violence. It shouldn't come to running people over, pepper spraying people.
Absolutely not.
Like, it blows my mind.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I hate that we kind of see this on both sides now, and I think that we definitely need to be really careful about labeling the alt-right right, just like how you're labeling Antifa as like liberals and stuff like that too. There is a distinction in there, like I think I've said this before, but I truly believe that there's like 15 to 20% on both sides that are just kind of crazy, maybe 10% on a good day, that you just have to like cut out and then work with the reasonable 70 to 80% in the middle, and you don't want to kind of lump those people in with because they do not stand for anything that conservatism or even limited government liberty or anything like. They don't stand for any of that.
I saw conservatives getting attacked for this, and I'm like, what about this was conservative? Nothing that happened here was what a real conservative would want, or conservative principles. Like, get out of here. No, it's not.
And that's it's because you can't even find conservative senators or anything like that who will like say anything remotely related to what they're saying at all.
No, not at all.
And allowing and promoting them in any way. I mean, the rhetoric that these guys promote I was watching one guy and he was just being interviewed and he was like, white men are kind of being oppressed, and I was like, okay, I mean, I wouldn't really complain about that. He was like, and then I want a free economy, and I was like, yeah, all right. And then third thing, he's like, and then kill the Jews. And I was like, what the heck, dude?
Jumped off the cliff there.
What is that even? Why?
How is that still an idea that survives?
I know,
I don't
it's insane.
understand.
So, like, I just think it's really important to make the distinction that these people are not associated in any way. And there have been so many conservative senators who have come out. Senator Marco Rubio condemned it very strongly.
Of course.
Because
I don't think anyone in their right mind thinks this is a good thing.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Ted Cruz said that the DOJ should press, the full legality standard, or press the book against this guy who ran into all these people to the full extent of the law. He absolutely should. No one is saying that this is a good thing or promoting it in any way. And I think that it's just sad to me that we can't all come together and condemn this as one, as America, right? Because then you have Trump versus these people, and then the media versus Trump, and then and
then lumping together the right with this, and then attacking the right.
It's just insane how the country is unable to unify on something as clear cut as literal Nazis.
Yeah, that's another thing, man. I'm so mad that we've watered down, not we, the media basically has watered down the word Nazi, because these are literal Nazis.
Yeah, driving a car into
and walking around with the swastika saying they want to kill the Jews. That's what a Nazi is.
Yeah.
A Nazi is not what they've labeled most people as Nazis nowadays.
No,
Trump is not a Nazi.
Yeah.
Like, no, this is a Nazi, but it doesn't mean anything anymore because it's been used so much.
Because it's been used.
No one cares. They're like, oh yeah, Nazis again. That was a thing.
Yeah.
Like, it should be a big freaking deal that they're walking around with a swastika flag in America.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
No, I mean, absolutely. It's insane. And I mean, we can talk about the legality of it, right? Like, you have the First Amendment to peacefully protest and to speak your mind.
None of this sounded peaceful, though.
None of this was peaceful. No, you're exactly right. And you can't promote violent rhetoric. You can't promote violence. That's
And I think killing the Jews.
Exactly. And to shout things like killing Jews, you shouldn't be allowed to say that. I know they were saying things like one nation, one people, end immigration or something like that. I mean, you can say stuff like that, even though you would consider that white nationalist. I guess like you can't have any more immigration. That I guess would be would be protected under free speech. But if you're saying stuff like kill the Jews and you're walking around with tiki torches, like resembling the KKK, man,
that's weird, dude.
I mean, like
it would have. What would have happened though? Like if they had done this and just no one cared. Like you know what I'm saying? No one came.
Anti-protest.
No one protested them. No news covered it. They did it. No one would know about it. That would have been such a bigger blow.
I guarantee you, someone wouldn't have driven a car into a
crowd
of people.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, not to say that it's the people who came to protest it. Not to say that this is their fault or anything, because it's definitely these white supremacists' fault for doing this. But I do think that you're right. A good way of just kind of putting out that fire is to not give it any attention.
Don't stoke it.
Because I think that people are now getting this kind of false narrative that there's a lot of these people, that they're a pretty big base, and I really don't think that's the case.
No, like even if you look at the number of KKK people, it's like in the thousands.
Yeah, exactly. And with a country of 350 million people, it's nothing.
Yeah.
And for someone to suggest that this is a large group, or even 10-15%, like this person was suggesting of Trump's support base, I mean, this is not 5.5 million people that believe this or that are marching this at all. And you just look at the media and look at people on both sides widely condemning them to know that that's just really not the case.
And yeah, just horrible. And prayers to anyone that got injured. I mean, that's just, dude, you should never have to worry about getting hit by a car just for protesting.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely. And we didn't really touch that much on the removal of the Confederate statues.
Right, yeah, I mean, there's been like Kentucky, I think,
Kentucky's
they
kind
were
of come out
removing
and
a
said
couple
that they're
Confederate
removing
statues because they did go and congregate around a Robert E. Lee statue for this, the white supremacist protest. So, I mean, I'm kind of in favor of that. If this is going to spur this kind of attitude for people and it's like kind of a beacon for them.
Yeah.
Feels like you should cut it out.
It's a problem that these people that are rallying around this. I mean, we did a full video in depth on this. You can check it out right here in the corner if you want to kind of hear our full perspective on it. My perspective hasn't really changed since then.
Really?
I think it's definitely still up to the states. I think that they should really still ultimately decide if they want to take it down. And then, you know, now that the police are aware that these riots and stuff can break out, if you have these people, these white nationalists coming up and protesting, or Antifa on the other side, you need to make sure to have clear-cut police officers there ready to defuse the situation as best that they can. But yeah, no, I think it should be up to the states to decide whether they want to take it down. And Virginia decided they want to take it down, so they're taking it down, and that's all there is to it, really.
Yeah, was it Virginia or Kentucky? I know Kentucky.
Well, Kentucky did, but it started with Virginia saying the General Robert E. Lee one would be taken down.
So yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, now I'd lean more towards, okay, I think maybe I might vote for them to actually take it down if I was living there, because I don't want that in my society. I don't want people like that. They shouldn't exist. They can't. It's very similar when you're talking about radical Islam. It's like it doesn't mess with our society. It cannot exist alongside what America is, and so it needs to be removed in any way it can.
Definitely.
Death penalty. There
No,
you go.
yeah. But all right, guys, that's going to kind of wrap up this video. Tell us what you think in the comments below. Let us know what you think about the white nationalist movement. If you think it's a problem, if you think it's kind of escalating, tell us what you think about Trump's response. And always, guys, always remember, stay informed.